Hey, welcome to another live episode of GeekOutdoors.com. Now, if you didn't know, YouTube Live for mobile came out, I would say, a little over a month ago. And a lot of people were, I would say, people who do YouTube were excited about this new feature because at that time, YouTube Live has been around for a while in the form of their desktop, but it was never made available for the mobile version, although some people who had more than 10,000 subscribers got early access to it. And then I myself, at the time, I had over 1,000 subscribers, so I now had access to it as well. And as anybody knows, if you are on the internet, Facebook Live is pretty much the biggest when it comes to live. And also, I would say Snapchat, because that's actually what I use to do a lot of my quote-unquote live content. And I really was interested in seeing whether or not YouTube Live on mobile would be any better than what I was using with Snapchat. And that's actually what I'm going to be giving you an insight on today, how YouTube Live performs versus Snapchat. Now, I know Snapchat isn't actually live per se. It's not really streaming, but it's pretty close to it. And I do not use Facebook Live myself. So I'm going to give a lot of my own pros and cons and some of the things that I feel YouTube Live has can bring or has advantages, and also some things that it needs, I guess, work on. Okay, so first and foremost, when it comes to actual simplicity of using, if you've never used Snapchat, it's really easy to use. At first, it's kind of weird, but when you're using YouTube Live, you actually have to take more steps in order to get it done. Okay, so if you log into your YouTube account through your YouTube app on your mobile device, you'll see a little camera, and then there'll be an option when you click on it to go live or just to record. So you can record just as you've always done, then upload it later. But if you go live and you click on that, then you get a few more options. You get the option to take a screenshot, put a title in for your actual live event, and then you go live like I am right now. Now, when it comes to Snapchat, it's a much easier process. You simply open up the Snapchat app, and then you go ahead and hold the button down. And usually the orientation is through your phone like this, instead of horizontal like this. And so it's much easier to use. You just click on it, it records normally 10 seconds, and then you let it go, and then you hold it down again, then records the next part, so it puts it all together. And so, like I said, Snapchat isn't like streaming live, but it's pretty close to being live. So when I think about the ease of use, I would definitely say Snapchat is easier to use. Okay, and so I got somebody on there, Vasil Traykov. Hey Vasil, how's it going? And thank you so much for being on this live. I didn't think anybody would be watching this right now. And before I go any further, I just want to thank everybody who watches my channel. There's a lot of people around the world who watch this, and especially from Europe. I actually did an episode earlier on Linux in Europe, and I do a follow-up on that. But going back to what I was saying, YouTube Live, it is not as easy to use as Snapchat. That's first and foremost. And then the second thing is, when it comes to the actual quality, this is kind of what I'm surprised by. And I haven't played around with YouTube Live enough to find out if there is a setting. But whenever you're trying to record, the default, I guess, is the highest resolution it could get. Okay? And so the problem with that is that with YouTube Live, you get inconsistent quality. Okay? Whereas on Snapchat, if you've ever seen Snapchats, you've seen my Snapchats on my channel, or you've seen other people on Snapchat. Thanks, Fazio. And the quality on Snapchat is not the best, but it is consistent. So that means that I could take Snapchats pretty much anywhere, and the quality is going to be pretty much the same, and it's very quick to upload. Whereas on YouTube Live, if you've seen some of my YouTube Live on mobile, I've done a few episodes. The quality was just not great at all because it really depends on your connection. And once again, I do not know if you are able to adjust the resolution. But once again, it goes back to the whole simplicity, the ease of use. With Snapchat, I don't have to worry about that. Just record it and then it uploads. Okay. Whereas with the YouTube Live, since I guess the resolution is higher, it really depends on your internet connection. So if you are using it at home, obviously you can use your Wi-Fi, but the whole point of YouTube Live Mobile is you're using it mobile on your device. And so a lot of times you're going to be using your cellular connection to do that. So that's another thing. And that's probably the biggest thing that I think Snapchat does better it is the quality, the consistent quality. So here, I'm not even sure how good this quality is going to be when you're actually seeing it, because the last time I did this through my phone, it was real chunky. You know, it had a lot of artifacts, you know, when I was doing the actual live session. So that's the second thing. And I know it sounds like, man, Snapchat's just killing it, and so far it is. And then the final thing that I've noticed with YouTube Live and Snapchat is something I just mentioned just a second ago, is the fact that you have to wait to upload. Okay, obviously when you're live, it's live right now. Okay, however, after it's done, it still have to process it, and then, you know, it's available for other people to see. Whereas in Snapchat, since the resolution's lower and whatever they're doing underneath, it's more efficient, it uploads like in a few seconds. Okay, so your content is ready for your, I guess, a lot of your content viewers really quickly. And so, yeah, and Vasil's asking, do you ever try Twitch? No, I don't do Twitch because I'm not a gamer, and I know you can use Twitch to do live streaming. But for myself, if you've probably noticed, I don't do a lot of different platforms, meaning I don't do Twitter, I rarely do Facebook. It's because I try to focus on the platforms that I like using. And I know that the other platforms would help, but if you've ever done content creation, right, like especially myself, I like to do, before I was doing daily content, if you notice, I've just stopped daily content just a few days ago, just as an experiment. I've been doing over for 2 months now. But when you have a lot of different platforms, it's really hard. You got to spend the time to actually focus on it. So that's really difficult. And live is becoming extremely, extremely important for all of these platforms. That's why they're pushing it so hard. And so going back to my YouTube Live versus Snapchat, so those are the three main things. And I would say all of those are basically drawbacks of using YouTube Live versus Snapchat. So the first thing is YouTube Live, it has more steps than Snapchat. Secondly is the quality. The quality is very inconsistent on YouTube Live Mobile. And then finally is also the upload processing time. Okay, so Snapchat has an advantage over YouTube Live Mobile on all three of those. So let's look at the areas where YouTube Live Mobile is actually better than Snapchat. Okay, the first reason, and this is undeniable, is YouTube just simply has a huge, huge audience. You know, if you didn't know, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world behind Google. Okay, so, and Google owns YouTube. So there is no larger audience if you wanted to reach people than YouTube. Now, Facebook Live is definitely coming up, okay, but people go to Facebook for different reasons. And Snapchat, although I really, really love using Snapchat, the audience is just not there. Or the audience, it's very specific, okay? It's not sticky, I would say. If you create content, you know that when you create something and it stays on there, that's the type of content you want. Whereas on Snapchat, it's more about engaging people daily because it's actually removed after 24 hours. And that is another positive of Snapchat. It does remove it, but it's also a negative as well because your content is not sticky and searchable like it is in YouTube. So first advantage for YouTube Live Mobile is the audience. You're simply not going to get a bigger audience than YouTube. The second feature that YouTube Live Mobile has that I like is the fact that it does have a little bit more setup. You know, like you could take screenshots before your video, you can do filters, you can actually chat with the viewers like I'm just doing right now, so thank you for interacting. You can take snapshots, and also another feature that is borrowed from Twitch is the fact that YouTube Live Mobile has added Super Chat. And so that's very similar to Twitch Live where you could donate to your favorite creators, and that's a really, really great thing, and that'll keep a lot of people creating because obviously if you're on YouTube, AdSense, it's not enough, okay, if you wanted to actually make some money out of YouTube. So it's nice that they added the Super Chat in there. And I don't think there is a donation option in Snapchat. I've been using it, so I haven't really seen that. And also, in terms of there's filters on here as well. Now, I will say the YouTube Live mobile filters is definitely not as good as all the different cool filters and stuff that you get on Snapchat. But that's not really something that I use anyway. Okay, and I'm trying to think of a final positive that YouTube Live Mobile has. Okay, so the final positive that I could think of is the fact that it's YouTube, so they're definitely going to be adding more features in the future. Okay, so long-term outlook. Okay, Google, they like to try a lot of different things. So whether or not they're going to continue using live, which I definitely think they will, they're not going to stop. They're actually pushing it. If you go to YouTube at the front page, now there's a live section as well. So they're not going to give up live. And so with YouTube, since they have a lot of resources being owned by Google, they're going to be around. And so if you were thinking of focusing on a platform for the long term, your long term bet is probably a lot better with YouTube than it is with Snapchat. Okay, so that is another advantage. And so that is basically my overall thoughts on YouTube Live Mobile versus Snapchat. At this point, I think that it is okay, but they really need to improve. First and foremost, I think the quality of the actual live sessions, okay, that you need consistent quality, which is something that Snapchat has. And then secondly, maybe make it a little bit easier to use. I'm not sure what they could do to make it easier, but like I said, with Snapchat, it's just a few seconds. So I'm pretty sure they could do something similar in YouTube Live Mobile. So if you had any thoughts on YouTube Live Mobile or Snapchat, or Facebook Live, or any other live streaming, and if you are a content creator yourself, what are some of your experiences with YouTube Live, whether it would be on mobile or desktop? Be sure to leave it in the comments area below. And I'd just like to thank the people who are actually watching this live stream. I really do appreciate it. And if you had any other ideas, I welcome that all the time. So thanks for watching this live episode. I look forward to obviously some more Geek Outdoors episodes and also some more live episodes as well. We'll see you later. We'll see you on another episode of GeekOutdoors.com.